Have you ever been deep in the woods and felt like you weren't alone? That feeling of being watched by something unseen, just beyond the trees? For most of us, it's just our imagination. But for others, that feeling became a terrifying reality. Today, we're diving into four bone-chilling Bigfoot encounters, told by the real people who experienced them. It was late afternoon, and the woods were unusually quiet. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed through the valley. It was guttural, powerful, and filled with rage. Mark froze, his heart pounding in his chest. Then he heard heavy, bipedal footsteps crashing through the underbrush, moving with incredible speed. A massive, hairy creature, at least 8 feet tall, striding through the clearing below. It paused, sniffed the air, and then let out another earth-shaking roar before disappearing back into the thicket. Mark stayed in that tree until well after dark, too terrified to move, certain that what he saw was not a man and not a bear. Next, we traveled to the Appalachian Mountains, where a couple, Sarah and Ben, were enjoying a camping trip. They were seasoned hikers and had chosen a remote spot far from any trails. It came from one side of their camp, and then, a few seconds later, an identical three-knock response came from the opposite side. They were communicating. Ben grabbed a powerful flashlight and shined it into the darkness, but saw nothing. The knocking continued, getting closer and closer. Then a large rock was thrown into their campsite, landing just feet from the fire. They threw dirt on their fire, grabbed their essential gear, and hiked out in the pitch black, the sounds of heavy footsteps and strange whoops following them for nearly a mile. They never went back to that spot again. Our third encounter takes place in rural Ohio and is one of the most frightening. A farmer named David began noticing strange things happening on his property. Tools would go missing from his barn, and he'd find massive, unidentifiable footprints near his livestock pens. One night, his dog started barking uncontrollably. David grabbed his shotgun and went outside to investigate. In the faint glow of his porch light, he saw a horrifying sight. It was just standing there, watching the house. David raised his shotgun, but he was frozen with a primal fear he'd never known, and then calmly walked back into the woods, vanishing into the night. It was something that was thinking and observing. Finally, we have the story of a group of friends on a fishing trip in British Columbia. They were on a remote lake, accessible only by float plane. One evening, as they were reeling in their lines, they heard a high-pitched scream from the far side of the lake. It sounded like a woman in distress, but it was distorted, almost inhuman. They were miles from anyone. As they got closer to the shore, a foul, pungent smell hit them, like a mix of rotting garbage and wet dog. As they scanned the shoreline with their flashlights, one of them spotted it, a huge, dark figure moving swiftly along the tree line. It was massive, covered in dark fur, and moved with a strange, loping gait. They didn't stick around to get a better look. From the quiet forests of Washington to the remote lakes of Canada, these stories share unnerving similarities. The immense size, the terrifying vocalizations, and the unnerving intelligence. Are these all just misidentifications or elaborate hoaxes? Or is there truly a large, undiscovered primate hiding in the vast, unexplored wilderness of North America? The people who live through these moments are convinced. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and if you have your own story, I'd love to hear it. Stay safe out there.